What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Titans Tube, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin, and this is my co-host Jake here. And we're previewing the Tennessee Titans at the Cincinnati Bengals for Week 8 for this NFL season. Jake, Titans coming off their first loss last week. This seems like a get-right game on paper against a team that, they're rebuilding. They seem to have their franchise quarterback, Joe Burrow. But overall, on paper, I think a lot of fans are coming into this game expecting to get another notch out of the win column. But this is the NFL. Things don't come easy week to week. And I know, I believe you said in our picks video that you're kind of worried about this game a little bit. So I don't know. How are you feeling, Jake?
I am a little bit worried coming into this one. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit worried going into every game as a Titans fan, especially with the way our defense has been performing. But, this Cincinnati Bengals team despite their record, they have been very competitive, in a lot of their games. Every game except the Baltimore game. But obviously, Baltimore is a top contender. They've been, one score or, kind of put it into one score territory late. So I think we're going to find out, I think just how good this Titans team is this week, because this Bengals team has played a lot of teams close. The only team they didn't play close was a contender. So hopefully the Titans, you said it, Titans are obviously favorites on paper. I think they're 6.5-point favorites coming into this one, which is a bigger spread than we're used to as Titans fans.
Yeah, especially as the road team as well.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So, yes, bounce back, get right game on paper. But yeah, a little bit worried. I think Joe Burrow's kind of putting it together. That offense is kind of scary, especially with this Titans secondary heading into the weekend, which we'll get into.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that shortly. But first, let's pull the brakes a little bit, because I do want to go back into the last matchup that these teams played, and a little bit further back than that, because there's also that whole thing about the Titans last time we were in Cincinnati playing a game, a certain moment that seemed really just like the bottom lowest of low moments as a Titans fan. But first, the last time these teams played were in Nashville a few years ago, and I think this was really the very last great DeMarco Murray performance. DeMarco Murray, fantastic 2016 season for us after that trade with the Eagles, led the AFC in rushing, went to the Pro Bowl. The year after that, we had more of the Derrick Henry getting his share, and then DeMarco Murray, dealing with injuries, was really slowing down. But this was in that final year, Murray's final year in the NFL season, and he put together a 3-touchdown performance, I remember, 2 on the ground, and then the game-winning touchdown reception from Marcus Mariota. I remember it well as well. One of those Mariota clutch come from behind fourth quarter drives to win the game at the end of it, and that was one of this is our guy, this is our Mariota franchise quarterback, and that was, I remember feeling like, again, he proved it again that he's the guy.
And it was such an electric play. He had kind of come out a couple plays before injured. I mean, classic Mariota. But, he trots back in there, kind of guts it out, gets the dump down to DeMarco Murray, and he does the stretch across the goal line. I think it was on 3rd and goal, too, so definitely exciting. But I do want to bring up the last time this Titans team was in my neck of the woods, Justin, up here in southwestern Ohio.
Yes.
I was there at that game, and talk about the lowest of lows of lows of lows of lows. I remember I was right, I was probably 50-ish yard line. Andy Dalton, I think, sweeps it, goes out for a pass. I can't remember if it was a Wildcat. Anyways, I think every Titans fan remembers this well as the worst moment of maybe their fanhood lives.
Yes.
So he is hanging up. Bleedy Ray Wilson comes in, who had the game-stealing pick on Thursday night, by the way. Fun Bleedy Ray Wilson caveat there.
Oh, man.
But Andy Dalton is just laid out to dry. Bleedy Ray Wilson is either going to, have a pick six, and this was early in the game, Justin.
I remember.
This was a possibly momentum-changing play.
Yeah, I remember exactly that. I remember the ball was in the air, and I was like, we're about to get either a pick six or Dalton's about to get lit up, and we are about to kill him. but neither happens. Jake, what happens?
And
Remind me.
he just, he kind of looked like if you threw me out there to go try and defense that pass, just a complete whiff. Andy Dalton trots into the end zone for the touchdown, and I don't think I've ever felt as defeated as I did in that moment. That game ended up being 33-7. I stayed for the entire time just to convince myself I was still a fan of this team. But
it became like an inner struggle, like a soul searching. Really,
yes,
it
correct.
was a
Yeah.
big moment in your life.
Yeah, like like a good desert hike or something. It was just something to really, really kind of get my mind wrapped around what had just happened in front of my eyeballs. So that being said, I'm going to be at the game again this weekend in
Maybe you shouldn't.
Cincinnati. So
Maybe you should not go to the games. I think you're bad luck. We're going to have some corners missing. Joe Burrow going out trying to catch some passes, and
oh,
hopefully that doesn't happen.
it had crossed my mind too. You know what? I might panic and go into complete panic if Joe Burrow trots out at the same kind of play, and same lineup happens with Joe Burrow, and he's probably 10 times more athletic than Andy Dalton. Let's be honest.
Right.
So sheesh.
Man,
Anyways, that's
and
a
like
good
you
trip down
said,
memory lane.
yeah, but like you said, Bleedy Ray Wilson is now getting game-saving interceptions. I'm glad you figured it out, Bleedy. I'm glad you figured it out. You couldn't have done that with us whenever you were a part of the Titans, but good for you. But yeah, one of the lowest moments. So we had to bring that up as well. But Jake, if we want to get into this game here, we'll start with the passing offense of the Titans going against this passing defense for the Bengals. So who are we looking at with this passing defense?
Yeah. So heading into this one, the Titans are at 15th in passing offense at 256 yards a game. But I would still contend that the Titans' passing attack is one of the most efficient in the NFL.
Yeah.
Tannehill isn't putting up eye-popping numbers. He's not 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, but he's putting together those steady, 200 to 250 to, pushing 300 and, 3 scores, being very,
Yeah.
very efficient passer as we know him to be. And then Cincinnati comes into this one 25th in pass defense, giving up 261 yards a game. That Bengals secondary is anchored by Von Bell, who is their leading tackler back there at the safety position, and then Jesse Bates III, who's talking mad smack on Tannehill this week, saying he's a check down Charlie and things like that. When I think I saw a stat from Paul Kuharsky, I know that's kind of a trigger word for Titans fans, Paul Kuharsky, but he tweeted out a statistic that I think Ryan Tannehill is like tied for 27th at the quarterback position and passes thrown under 5 yards.
Yeah, so he's the complete opposite of check down.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, he's pushing the ball down the field. He's been one of the tops in the league in yards per attempt. So I don't know where that's coming from. Jesse Bates III. And then they have Mackenzie Alexander and William Jackson at either side of the corner. LaShawn Sims revenge game against the Titans.
Here we go,
at their third corner position. And then they also have Darius Phillips, who kind of plays a role for them as well in the defensive backfield. He's coming into this game as questionable with a knee injury. But we're looking at a secondary, Justin, who kind of looked like they had Baker Mayfield dead to rights last week and then ended up giving almost 300 yards and 5 touchdowns in a absolute, onslaught of a comeback performance against Cleveland last week. So we'll see how this goes. I expect Ryan Tannehill to have continued success and, efficient success against this defense. But I just wanted to highlight a part of the Titans passing offense this week is I've wanted to not say A.J. Brown is that guy just because we've never seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it in my Titans fanhood, but having that receiver who is that guy, who is that absolute dog, but A.J. Brown is that dude, and it makes me so happy to just a year and a half into his career, confidently say that we have a number one receiver, a guy who can be elite for us, and it just makes me very ecstatic to think we have a player of that caliber.
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that can match up against a team's opposing number one cornerback and win a lot of the matchups, and that's what you want out of your number one wide receiver. Is to not get shut down. Hopefully, he missed a lot of games this year due to injuring his knee. But whenever he's been on the field, like he hasn't been shut down really. I know he had 30-ish yards maybe in that. What was the week 1 game in Denver? He played that one game, then went out for several weeks with the knee.
Yeah.
And I don't remember him putting up a lot of yards, but that was like the only time this season where when he's played, he hasn't really produced like we've seen him. But yeah, going off last week against the Steelers, having a great second half. He's that guy. He's number 1 receiver. I'd put him top 15 of all wide receivers in the NFL. I think he's really getting into that territory.
And you love to see it, man. You really love to see it.
Yeah.
I think I'd give the edge to the Titans passing offense here.
Right.
Just in that, you're looking at a Browns offense who, the argument, are they better with OBJ or without OBJ? Well, OBJ went out kind of early in that game and, Baker Mayfield then lit it up. So, you're looking at a Browns offense who's debatably possibly less explosive than the Titans offense. I mean, they both have a pretty decent offense, but I like Ryan Tannehill's odds against the secondary better than Baker Mayfield, and we saw Baker Mayfield have success. So hopefully Ryan Tannehill can carry that torch this week, and I expect him to. So I'm giving the edge to our passing offense.
And as long as Jesse Bates continues to apparently not watch film and thinks that Ryan Tannehill is just going to be checking down the ball, then the offense might have a field day if he's not expecting some deep shots over the top to Khalif Raymond and to A.J. Brown and to all of our weapons out there. But, I do want to say Jesse Bates is possibly their best player on defense. I do want to give him credit there. He leads their team in passes defense. I think he has an interception as well. Is like number 1 on their team in tackles, maybe number 2. So very active defender there. So definitely a player to watch. But like you said several times, it's the edge. I think the Titans do get the edge here. I'm hanging on to this one category for too long.
All good.
So
man. Do you want to take it to the rushing offense versus this Bengals rush defense? Because King Henry should be licking his chops going into this one, Justin.
Here we go. King Henry, fresh off of the October AFC Offensive Player of the Month, something like that. After just playing in 3 games in October. I think a lot of it had to do with that Texans game. But yeah, Titans as a team coming into this game at 5th in the NFL in rush yards at 145 per game. Cincinnati on the back half of the top, on the wrong end of the top 5 in rush defense. They are 28th, giving up 133 yards per game. So if Tannehill can get it done through the air, I feel like we can get it done either way, at least based on these stats. I feel like one of the best recipes for success right now, and we're going to get to our defense against, this passing attack from the Bengals, but running the ball, controlling the line of scrimmage, keeping our defense on the sidelines, and really controlling the pace and tempo of the game is going to be huge. So we could, come out with a steady offense, slow kind of ground and pound with Henry, but wouldn't be surprised if he gets a few chunk pop runs over the course of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I just want to throw in a little nugget here that the forecast is calling for winds pushing maybe 40 miles an hour at times and gusts. So that might be something to watch. The passing games or the passing attacks on either side might have a tough time whipping it in those winds. So the ground game could be, a piece of importance into this game, and obviously favors into the Titans. Keep on going, Justin.
Yeah, I want to add, though, with those whipping winds, that might help our kicking game, because you can probably expect Gostkowski to push a kick left or right, but the wind is going to correct that. So I have great confidence in the kicking game.
Depending on which way it's blowing, Gostkowski could have a great
That's true.
day.
Let's hope he hooks it in the right direction where the wind is blowing. But anyway, if we can look at who is on this front 7 for this Bengals rush defense, because they're kind of beat up. At the beginning of the season, they had DJ Reader, who was a great offseason get for him from the Texans. Sam Hubbard is a young player in his 3rd year, I believe, who's now on injured reserve. So they are sustaining some injuries, but they still have some playmakers there. Carl Lawson, 3.5 sacks on the year, and Amani Bledsoe are the edge guys on the defensive line for Cincinnati. And then they have Jermaine Pratt and Josh Bynes at linebacker, who's up there leading their team in tackles. I'm sorry, Cincinnati, I can't say I know who these players are. I don't know if I've ever heard of them. I mean, I really only truly follow the Titans in depth like that, but I can pick out several players from any given team in the league, I feel like, but I really don't think I've heard of these guys before. So maybe if you're a Bengals fan watching this, you can let us know what these guys do best, if they're quality players or if they're just kind of guys you're plugging in for a rebuilding type season. Geno Atkins has been a stud on that line for a long time, but he is on a limited snap count too. So it'll be interesting to see, how often they use him in this game. But he's been him and Carlos Dunlap have been anchors on that D line for a decade now. And of course, Carlos Dunlap, disgruntled, not on that team anymore, traded to
Seattle.
Seattle. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you for man.
All
This is
good.
why I can't do a show by myself because I keep bringing up facts I should know and then I realize I don't know them. So yeah,
good.
from the outside looking in, this front seven that King Henry's going to be running into doesn't look all that intimidating. We're coming off a game against the Steelers front seven, so this feels like it should be a little more easygoing. I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
I saw a stat coming into this one that the Bengals are among the tops in the league, if not number one, I believe, in giving up yards or runs of 20 yards or more. And oh boy,
Licking your chops.
that love to see Derrick Henry get rolling into this game, ripping off, those 8, 10, 15, yards at a time, and, even making that stat even wider for the Bengals, and possibly ripping off some long ones here. So this matchup definitely bodes well for Derrick Henry. And, on paper, and I think the eye test as well, gives the advantage to the Titans rush offense without a doubt.
Agreed. Yeah, we will definitely take the advantage here. So that's two check marks for us. We gave ourselves passing as well. So I think we might see a different story here, though. Let's move on to the Titans' pass defense. Big sigh going up against this Joe Burrow-led passing attack for the Bengals. Who do we have here, Jake?
Yeah, it couldn't all be roses and sunshine heading into this one. And this is my cause for concern in this game. This is why I don't feel overly confident like a lot of Titans fans I feel do coming into this one. The Titans are 26th in pass defense coming into this one. While the Cincinnati Bengals and, rookie hotshot Joe Football is coming in. And they have a 12th ranked passing attack. They are 1-5-1, but they have a top 12 passing offense here. The Titans coming in this one banged up. Ty Smith is questionable heading into this one. Christian Fulton is out, and we still, at the time of taping, don't know if Adoree Jackson is going to play in this game. He turned in 2 full days of practice. He had kind of some of that swagger and bounce in his step that we are used to seeing from Adoree Jackson in, clips from practice. So it looked like he was on track to play in this game. And all of a sudden today, Friday afternoon, he is not even spotted at practice and, did not participate was his
or he's still technically on IR. We haven't signed him off of the IR list. So
yeah,
not expecting him, I guess.
So you don't know if it's rest, if we give you the day off, be ready for Sunday. It's, that's kind of a glass half full, half empty situation. But definitely going to hopefully want Adoree Jackson in this game, because if the Bengals do one thing well, it's pass the football. And I did have my doubts about Joe Burrow coming into this one. I mentioned it in the picks video. But living in Southwest Ohio, it's Joe Burrow everywhere. They're selling his T-shirts on every corner.
They love it.
He's Ohio's favorite son for sure. But he's got a stable of weapons too. T. Higgins has come in and done so well for them. Tyler Boyd is emerging as a great wide receiver, and AJ Green was the third person I listed. So that's a
he's like the number 3
trio.
Yeah,
at wide receiver, and especially going up against this massively struggling Titans secondary. We're going to need Malcolm Butler to play a good game. I'm hoping that roller coaster of Malcolm Butler games, he was up against the Bills, down against Houston, down against Pittsburgh. Hopefully we get the uptick here from Malcolm Butler. We'll see.
You said down against Pittsburgh, though. I heard a lot of talk about how he was matched up on Chase Claypool a lot throughout the game. And Claypool really didn't produce that much. So I think I did see some people, give him props for, neutralizing Claypool a little bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And yeah, coming off a game against Buffalo too, he's making splash plays there. So
Yeah.
so
You
maybe
gotta want
just
to see the splash plays, yeah, from to
uh,
really stand out for sure.
but yeah, this secondary is struggling. Jonathan Joseph, oh man, oh man, you know, hobbling into this one against this great trio of weapons. It's going to be whether this pass rush can get home. If this can be a get right game for the pass rush, especially.
Yeah.
Looking for Clowney and Landry to just get home at some point.
It's
Jeffrey
time.
Simmons get in there and disrupt a little bit. But,
Yeah.
he's been doing plenty of that. So I'm looking for Jadeveon Clowney in this game to get his first sack as a Titan and
We've said that
disrupt
like
Joe
5
Burrow.
games in a row now.
Yeah.
It won't happen. It's just not happening. Yeah, I
But, yeah, I
believe it
mean,
though. I believe it. He can do it.
you just got to believe. So if the Titans do not disrupt Joe Burrow in this game, he's going to pick us apart. Just plain and simple. Yeah, he's a rookie. Yeah, he's only 8 games in or so, but he has been putting together good passing performances, and he's going to pick
Yeah.
apart this secondary as we've seen plenty of quarterbacks do already this year. If we give them time and especially play 10 yards back on their wide receivers. So I think this is
Right.
a big time X factor coming into this one, Justin. I have the Bengals pass offense
Oh
getting
yeah.
the edge here over our passing defense. I think that's kind of an obvious one. What do you think?
I for sure agree that they hold the advantage in this category. And you talk about how the Bengals they don't have the win numbers this year, but they are competitive in a lot of these games. They're not getting blown out, save for the Baltimore game. And the reason they're not getting blown out is because of this passing offense and what Joe Burrow's doing. This is it. This is it for them, and this is what they do best, and they're very effective doing it. Going back to their receivers, I was just curious, looking at the size of these guys. AJ Green and T. Higgins are both 6'4", and Tyler Boyd is 6'2". We're trotting out little bitty Chris Jackson out there and 5'10", maybe Malcolm Butler. I feel like he's on the shorter end too. So, yeah, this is a matchup that definitely has me concerned, and we may end up having to find ourselves in a shootout. The best thing going for us is their offensive line is absolutely destroyed. I think they have one starting offensive lineman that started for them at the beginning of the season. So, like you said, the pressure on Burrow has got to show up to help out the coverage in the secondary. So that's going to be the key for the secondary is for the pass rush to pressure Burrow and be in his face the whole game. Maybe get some of those signature Jeffrey Simmons tip passes popped up in the air and get more turnovers like we did last week. So,
For sure.
yeah, but I think they have to hold the advantage here.
Yeah, and this is going to be the X factor. I'm just real nervous, and also, I did say the wind is going to be a factor earlier, but if those wind gusts don't show up, look for the over to hit in this game because the Bengals defense is not that great. The Titans defense is not that great. We could
Yeah.
see a very high scoring shootout here, Justin, just like they had last week against Cleveland.
Yeah, we'd be on our way to another 37-34 game.
Yeah.
I could totally see that happening. And do you think, in the last point before we move on, if this secondary struggles again, isn't this the very last game before the trade deadline? So even if we win, but Joe Burrow throws up 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, do you think that'll pressure J-Rob even more to trade for a cornerback, Stephon Gilmore, or one that we can get for cheaper? Do you think
You
that's
would
in the
like
cards?
to think. Go
Or
ahead.
I feel like there's part of him there's just like, just get a Dory back, and we'll have Butler still out there. That's a pretty good tandem. We'll be fine. Or do you think we got to go after somebody even after a Dory Jackson gets back?
And it remains to be seen just because obviously we've been harping on the point. Getting a Dory back is not going to be a cure-all for this defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe the front seven is starting to play just a touch better, and it's more so on the back end here. I'd like to see. I think schematically they've been playing poorly. It just
Yeah,
seems like
right.
they're not really on the same page. Communication wise. And I think bringing in an outsider at this point in the season might not be a great move to increase communication among the players who are already there. But I would hope that John Robinson is on the phone, at least, checking the prices of some of these guys to try and help out this team because let's just be honest, Justin. I think there's a 2-year window starting at the end of last year to the end of next year that the Titans could be Super Bowl contenders. And,
Definitely.
you would like to see John Robinson kind of roll that dice and go all in because it's kind of a go all in kind of league unless, you hit the quarterback lottery and Patrick Mahomes or something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you would hope he's working the phone. But the Titans not really a trade heavy team, especially in season. So we'll see. It remains to be seen. I just want a Dory Jackson back so bad so we can kind of put that to bed and see, is this defense hopeless and is this back end
Yeah.
going to get any better, or is a Dory Jackson to come back and really help? So I think it could be a little bit of both, but
Yeah. And
we'll see.
I do like what you said about there being like a 2-year window this year and next year, specifically keeping the Tannehill Henry combo going. Just how both of them are just going off right now. How much we can expect that maybe this year, probably could carry it over into next year. But after that, Henry may start slowing down. Tannehill's going to be in his mid-30s by that point. So I think if you're in championship right now mode, you got to pull the trigger if you're J Rob at some point. If this
For sure.
secondary is the thing really holding you back from making a run at the Super Bowl. So we'll see. Well, they will be tested once again against the Bengals.
They'll probably
Maybe
phone up the Giants and say, like, please, please, please give us Logan Ryan back,
yeah, can we
because
get that one back?
I think it's a
Yeah.
general consensus among Titans fans that you would pay Logan Ryan the $7.5 million he's making in New York right now, without a doubt. Especially halfway through the season now, that was a bigger loss than I think this front office anticipated it to be.
Yeah, it's starting to show up. But let's move on. Our second to last category here. We got the Titans' run defense against the Bengals' run offense. Both of these areas, the teams are weak at, or they're weak in these categories. Titans giving up 23rd, or they rank 23rd in rush defense, giving up 129 yards per game. Cincinnati, as prolific as their passing is, that might be because of their lackluster running game. They're 26th in the NFL in rushing offense at 98 yards per game. Joe Mixon was having a pretty decent season, but he is banged up at this point and will miss his second straight game, I believe. Let's see. I'm reading these notes here real quick. Playing only
All good.
one week one starter on the O-line. Oh, yes, we mentioned the O-line issues there. So this feels like, another kind of get right moment for this Titans team to really, you're coming up against a rushing offense that's pretty pedestrian. If the passing offense can't get it together, surely they can sustain the stopping them on the ground, make their offense one-dimensional, as they kind of have been this year with Joe Burrow. So Giovanni Bernard is going to be their lead back. So yeah, I feel like the Titans can, finally make more of an impact on the rush defensive side. They weren't terrible against James Conner last week, but they definitely didn't shut him down at the same time. I think he had 70 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So given the offensive line issues and the starting running back is out, I feel like I can confidently say the Titans will win this matchup. Big Jeff is going to be a problem for him in the middle. So I don't know. What do you see here?
For sure. And, Jayon Brown, albeit it was in coverage last week, but you kind of saw him starting to come alive and be that guy a little more. And then you look to a guy like Rashaan Evans, who hopefully can get downhill into this weak offensive line and kind of cut through the teeth of it and make some plays. Look for Kenny Vaccaro to come up in the box. I think I've said that a couple of times. But, he's great in the run game. And, yeah, you would think that with the talent on this Titans front seven, just going down the line, Clowney, Evans, Jayon Brown, Vaccaro when he comes up, and Daquan Jones, and not even to mention Big Jeff being a huge problem in the middle.
Yeah.
You would hope that they could use this as an opportunity to get right, is the kind of phrase of the week, against this really kind of pedestrian rushing offense, especially with just absolute motley crew of offensive linemen. They are trotting out one of the worst lines in the league, maybe, minus Dallas, maybe. So you would hope that they can hold Giovanni Bernard, who's more of a passing weapon. It's kind of like, you're going up against a rushing defense that's kind of starting to put it together, and you're trotting out Dion Lewis as your starting back,
Right.
and it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the same idea where this running offense should be very limited. I mean, look for Joe Burrow to throw like probably 50 plus passes. I mean, he's been doing it every game anyways, but yeah, we'll see if this Titans defense can get right. And yeah, I'm going to give us the edge in this category in rush defense coming into this one.
I agree. Yeah, I think the advantage falls in line with us here. Just too banged up for that Bengals front and their starting running back. Lastly, Jake, we got the special teams here. Another big L for the Titans special teams last week with the missed Gostowski kick and the Brett Kern botched snap to him for the punt, and we gave up a long return, and Khalif Raymond muffed a kickoff, and everything.
On and on and on. Yep.
It just keeps going on and on. I don't think we need to go too long into this. Well, you were supposed to talk about it, but Randy Bullock's their kicker, and then they have longtime punter Kevin Huber. Those are the kicker and punters for Cincinnati.
And yeah, Bengals fans had their pitchforks and torches out. Bless you. Was that a sneeze?
It was a cough.
Oh, okay.
Little tickle. We're in different states. So
okay, yes.
Worry.
Social distance. I'm not worried.
We are very social distance.
But yeah, Bengals fans had their pitchforks and torches out for Randy Bullock week 1 after missing, the game-tying kick against the Chargers. And he has only missed 1 kick since then. He was perfect for a long stretch after that game. So he's definitely put it together, been a consistent kicker. As Titans fans, we don't know what that's like at this point anymore.
And so yeah,
it feels like forever. Good God. I saw a tweet thread that was, tweet the scariest story you can in 6 words, and it was the Titans field goal unit comes on the field. Or that, I don't know how many words that was, but it was something like it.
I think that was Mike Herndon. I think I saw him. I feel like that was the guy that tweeted that. That was funny.
Yeah, dude. Mike Herndon's a great follow.
Yeah.
We love shouting him out here. But anyways, give the Bengals the advantage on special teams, especially after that just abysmal performance last week against Pittsburgh. So come on, Titans special teams, get it together. Let's try and get a long return from Khalif, or at least Gostkowski kicks a couple of field goals.
Yeah. Man.
Bank on those big wind gusts to maybe push one in the right direction and hook it in. I like that strategy coming into this.
Yeah, bank on the wind. Really helping the special teams. That's a stretch, but hey, it could happen. So Bengals got the special teams advantage. They got the passing offense advantage, and then the Titans get the other 3. So I don't know. It could be, as far as the advantages goes. I mean, it's not a very lopsided, in terms of Titans versus Bengals here. But Jake, do you want to go first? We're going to give our keys to the game and a score prediction. You got one for us?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the key to the game is stopping Joe Burrow in this passing offense without a doubt. And then getting Derrick Henry over 100 yards. I love saying that every week.
Yeah.
But I think another X factor in this game is let's get Kevin Byard an interception. Let's continue to be opportunistic on defense because I think the Titans can get off to an early lead in this game, especially, with this Bengals offensive line. Their run game is going to falter early, and that's why Joe Burrow's throwing 50-plus passes, because they're abandoning the run game, because they're falling behind in games. So let's, A, be opportunistic with turnovers, and B, if we get a lead, for Christ's sake, let's keep the lead. Let's not let it get close if the Titans do, in fact, get out to an early lead, which I think we're kind of expecting them to. Let's don't make this like a Jacksonville or a Houston game where it looks like we're going to cruise, but not so fast, my friend. And I think, Joe Burrow is going to get one of these teams one time coming back with these furious comebacks he's having.
Yeah.
But that being said, I got the Titans in this game. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Give me the Titans. Let's go 34-23. We'll do it a weird one.
Ooh, okay. Man, that's pretty close to what my score prediction was going to be. So yeah, we're on the same page there. But I like what you said. I like your keys. I like the defense taking advantage of opportunities, especially turnovers. Joe Burrow is a rookie. Pretty sure I'm right that he has 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, but I think he's playing better than that. I seem to recall a couple games he played where he just had some bad luck on some throws. Like I don't think not all 5 interceptions were just bad throws, bad decisions by him. A couple of them were fluky, but he's still a rookie quarterback, so you got to think that he's bound to misread a coverage or to throw you a ball here and there. Defense has got to be ready. Put your hands up, turn around, look for the ball. He's bound to throw us 1 or 2 interceptable passes, so we got to take advantage of that. And then, defense. That's the key, is the pass defense against Burrow. I would almost say if our defense can force like 4 punts, just make them punt 4 times. Like, that's all I'm asking. I think our offense is going to be effective enough. I'll put it that simply. Give us at least 4 punts, Titans defense.
I like that, dude. It seems like, with this Titans defense, it's either going to end in a score for the opposing team or it's going to be a turnover. There's going to be no in between. It's going to be one or the other. I think that's a good key, is forcing multiple punts. Let's give that a try.
Do what defenses usually do. Do what they're supposed to do, and you can count on them to do, is to force a punt, which we haven't been able to count on them doing. So I think it will be a get-right game. My score prediction was going to be 31-23, because I think Gostowski will miss a field goal, and that's why it's going to be 31-23. And I'll get the rights, and you're going to be, dang it, Gostowski, I almost failed the prediction, but you blew it.
Curses.
So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game. I think this could be one of those fun games to watch. Even if our defense is giving up yards and points, I am looking for our offense to kind of light it up on the field. It would be very disappointing if this Bengals defense shut down our offense. So I still think it's going to be an exciting game to watch, whether our defense, lets Joe Burrow do his thing or not. So
exactly. Yeah, I'm hopping on I-75 going down to Cincinnati for this game, and I'm going to come back on Titans too furious if they let this one go, especially coming off the loss to Pittsburgh, a kind of a gut wrencher. Flipping it on its head, you got somewhat of an easy target in the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get this defense on the right track. Yeah. Let's get home to the quarterback a couple of times, please, and let's get off the field on 3rd down. Let's take advantage of this rookie quarterback and this bad offensive line and this kind of Swiss cheese-ish defense. Let's go get a win, Justin. I'm pumped for this game.
I think this is a big win to go ahead and get, because we've got the Ravens coming up, we got the Colts twice, and that's always going to be a challenge for us. We have Chicago coming to Nashville in 2 weeks, so we're going to have some challenging games coming up against some teams that are looking ahead, having some playoff and possibly Super Bowl aspirations. That the Cincinnati team doesn't have right now. I mean, they're rebuilding. They've got some good pieces going for them right now. But this is a winnable game. We need a notch a win here because of the schedule coming up. And 6-1. I think we can do it. And I like how the sound of 6-1 sounds.
Rolls off the tongue nice. Yeah. And this is not your grandpa's Titans. This isn't the Titans team of old where they go lose these games. I don't think that might come back and haunt me, but they don't lose these games that they're supposed to win anymore. If that made any sense, they don't go into these games that they're supposed to win and lose.
What didn't make sense though is this isn't your grandpa's Titans, because I don't think there's
not your grandpa's
a grandpa. Yeah, your grandpa's Oilers. I don't think there has been a new grandpa, that never even had a kid when the Titans started. There hasn't been enough time, Jake. There's no way. 20 years? You can't be a grandpa in 20 years.
Let's get on it.
But anyway, guys, that's the video. That's the preview. We should note that since Jake is going to be going to that game, we aren't going to have our recap video up until Monday. We're going to shoot for filming it on Monday, having it up hopefully in the afternoon-ish time, somewhere around there. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully it's going to be a winning edition.
I would love it. Sounds good, Justin. Everybody make sure to like, comment, subscribe. All that jazz. Have a great football weekend, and tighten up, baby. Let's go get a win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tighten up, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.